The Spirit of Adonai is upon me. Therefore, he has anointed me to announce the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom to the imprisoned, to renew the sight for the blind, to release those who have been crushed, to proclaim the year of the favor of Adonai. That's found in Isaiah 61, 1 and 2, and it is our verse of focus. But it's also found in Luke 4, 18 and 19. It's where Jesus read this in the synagogue. So they were excited in that synagogue to hear that Yeshua HaMashiach, that's his name in Hebrew, was coming to the synagogue in his hometown. They heard about all these things that he was doing, and they couldn't wait to see what he was going to do there. They were anticipating his arrival. So they were going to have him speak and actually read the scroll. They had it all set up. So Jesus came and they handed him, the attendant of the synagogue traditionally would hand the reader the scroll. And they handed him the scroll of Isaiah, and that's when he found Isaiah 61. So after he read it, traditionally what would happen, the reader would read it, and then they would comment on the passage that they read. So, verse 20 of Luke 4, after closing the scroll and returning it to the helper or the attendant, he sat down, and the eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fixed on him. He started to speak. Today, as you have heard it read, this passage of the Tanakh was fulfilled, or the prophecy. Everyone was speaking well of him and marveled that such appealing words were coming from his mouth. They were even asking, can this be Joseph's son? Oh, that's not such a nice thing that they were saying. Jesus read right through what they were saying. They were saying such sweet things, right? But in their minds, they were thinking such different thoughts. I've never seen this before as I've read this passage until today. Verse 23 of Luke 4. And he said to them, even though they said that, he said to them, doubtless you will quote me on this proverb, physician, heal yourself. What we've heard you did in Capernaum, do here in your hometown as well. That's wild, right? He read their very minds. He knew what they were thinking. They wanted him to put on a show. They wanted him to perform for them. And he said, truly I say to you, no prophet is acceptable in his hometown. But in truth, I tell you, there were many widows in Israel in the days of Elijah when the heavens were shut up for 3.5 years. And a great famine came over all the land, and Elijah was sent to none of them, but only to Zarephath in the land of Sidon, to a woman who was a widow. And there were many lepers in Israel at the time of the prophet Elisha, and none of them were cleansed, but only Naaman the Syrian. Now notice, the Syrian was not an Israelite. So by saying this, it made the people in the synagogue very, very angry. It made them very, very upset. Both that probably convicted them because he read right through them, and their kind words made them feel convicted, and also made them feel offended. On hearing this, verse 28, everyone in the synagogue was filled with fury. They rose up, drove him out of the synagogue. Jesus said this would happen to us too in Matthew 24. They drove him out and dragged him to the edge of the cliff in which the town was built, intending to throw him off, to kill him. But he walked right through the middle of the crowd and he went away. Now, why would they want to kill him? He upended their apple cart. But today, people want performance, just like they did in Jesus' hometown. God is not looking for performance. In Isaiah 61, Jesus said, I came to proclaim the good news, to set free the captives, those who are in the dark, to bring them out into the light. And when he was talking about blindness, he wasn't talking about physical blindness, he's talking about spiritual blindness. Because sin has blinded our eyes. And when Jesus died on the cross and rose on the third day, he took a hold of the keys of sin and death and he proclaimed us free for those who would choose to accept him as Lord and Savior. That wasn't a performance. That was freedom, real freedom. God's looking for you to set you free. But it's not about a stage and it's not about something to perform. It's about hearts and minds. It's about people and love. God is setting up a lot of small groups and homes who would study and seek him. God says, if you draw near to me, I will draw near to you. Seek me and you'll find me, provided you'll seek me wholeheartedly. And that's found in Jeremiah 29, 13 and 14. Jeremiah 29:11 is probably more familiar to you. It says, I know the plans I have in mind for you, plans to prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. But to unlock that, you have to seek him wholeheartedly.